Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of my newbie guide for Mu Legend. Today I'm going to be talking about something called combat power, how to raise it, and what the fastest way to raise it is. Now, a quick thing, you really should only care about this purely to enter dungeons. This is not a perfect representation of how strong you are. Obviously, somebody that's 600,000 combat power is significantly stronger than 400,000 combat power. But someone that's 450,000 combat power and someone that's 420,000 combat power, that doesn't tell you much of anything realistically. So I'll just be telling you how to raise it, how to do it quickly, how to be able to enter the highest ranking dungeon, which as of current patch is 280,000, and then we will go from there. Again, I wouldn't worry about this too much, but if you're below 280,000, you really want to get there as soon as possible. Just to enter the new Epic. You'll still want to have good gear, you'll still want to be able to run it, you still will want to be able to pug it and not get kicked out of parties. It's fairly easy to carry people if you have a guild, but you still have to get there. So I will just be going over how to do that in the quickest way possible. Enjoy! Alright, the first way to get combat power that I'm going to talk about, and the quickest way as far as I'm concerned, is through these things called pets. Pets are these guys that follow you around. As you can see on my screen, that one is mine. Mine is currently tier 5 plus 10, which is the highest tier and the highest level you can get it to. And it gives me what it claims is 37,000 combat power. It really gives me more. I don't know why. Doesn't matter too much though. So if I was to go ahead and unequip my pet, I would lose almost 50k combat power. If I was to go ahead and unequip this pet, I would lose 4.5k combat power. So that's 50 plus 5k a piece. That's basically 70k combat power just from having these guys equipped. So why do I say it's the fastest? Because they're also extremely easy to get since Noria patch. There's two ways to get it. I'll go over them again real quickly. The first way, the old way, the slow way, Fabrice Garden. You get one of these runs per day. If you're a premium, you get an extra cube that you don't have to run for. That cube can potentially drop one of two pets, the kobold and the larva. Both of them give Zen drop as their comrade bonus, and neither of them give attack, so they're typically fairly useless. Nobody really uses them in any sense. You use them to sacrifice pets. So you can get it from tier 0 to tier 2. You can also get things called evolution stones to evolve your pets from this, or evolution fragments, which you need 20 of those to make one evolution stone. So fairly simple. Run this every day, you have a chance of getting a pet, and you have a chance of getting the material required to evolve your pets. The other way is through something called Linda's Guide. As far as I know, this is staying permanently. It is not a temporary event. If you go ahead and complete this training right here, by the end of it, by the end of step 5, you will have plenty and plenty of pets. You'll get free growth pets, which are used purely to sacrifice, and you'll get free bullhorn warriors, which are a premium pet that have the attack stat on it. You will get plenty and enough to potentially make a tier 5 if I remember correctly, and have a few comrades on the side. I don't remember how many I had, but I remember it was a whole of a lot. So do the guide, get your bullhorn warriors. They look like this. They give attack, undead, and HP as their basic stats. They also give humanoid damage reduction, so if you're a PvP player, you might want to keep them around and use them for when you're PvPing, because they'll reduce human damage. But get one of these guys to tier 5 plus 10. That should give you at the very minimum 40k combat power. Keep the other ones around and use them to sacrifice, and grab a few tier 2 pets for your comrade bonuses. Purely for combat power reasons, don't even worry about the bonuses just yet. Most people use the ones that give Soli XP like I have here. Not the end of the world that you don't have extra Soli XP, you'll get them over time. Just get your combat power to 280,000. That will allow you to run the epic dungeon, and allow you to make red Zen, and allow you to buy all of these beautiful pets without spending a dime. So even tier 2, I have a bunch of tier 4s, right? So if I equip my tier 4, I lose 4,500. If I go ahead and equip a tier 2, which really doesn't take many resources or long at all, I gain 3,000 combat power. So even a tier 2, which requires half the resources of a tier 4 and is much easier to get, gives you 3,000 comrade bonus. 3,000, 3,000, 3,000, that's 12,000. You'll have a tier 5 after the guide. You'll just have to level it up a bit. That's 40,000, 40,000 plus 12,000, 52,000. So you've got 52,000 combat power just from completing your guide and running for Brees every day. One of the fastest ways to do it, one of the easiest way to do it. How do you upgrade your pet? For anyone that doesn't know, you go into pet growth. So you can upgrade only pets that are at plus 10 for their tier. So let's say I want to upgrade this tier 1 plus 10. Click this button, select your pet. It'll show you going from plus 10, tier 1 to tier 2 plus 0. Tell you what you need right here. You need 2 evolution stones. You need an evolution stone per tier you're going to. Tier 2 requires 2. Tier 3 requires 3. Tier 4 requires 4. So on, so on. You'll also need a material pet. This pet will get sacrificed. It has to be the same tier as the one you're upgrading. So I'm upgrading a tier 1. I need another tier 1. You would select a random tier 1, click add material, and if I was to click evolve, it would take 2 stones away, it would take the pet away, and it would make him a tier 2 pet. Fairly simple. Do that until you're satisfied with all your tiers. I would suggest, again, saving. If you buy boxes and you open boxes, save any pets that have soul EXP, level them up as comrades. Otherwise, sacrifice all your larvas and all your kobolds. You can get them at any time through running for Brees, and the Zen drop isn't really that useful anymore. So go ahead, sacrifice them, upgrade your pets, and you will have an extra 60k combat power in no time. Also, before I end this section, quick thing. Later on, when you start collecting pets, they also give certain stats. So if you have 4 out of the 12, you'll get an extra 250 attack. If you've got 8 out of 12, you'll get some attack speed. And if you've got all 12 kinds and variations, you'll even get 15% crit damage. These are very nice stats to have, but I wouldn't worry about them too much. I wouldn't drop 30 bucks in 11 boxes because you probably won't even get close to what you need. So wait until you can enter Epic, sell a bunch of items for some red Zen, then you can start worrying about this. I would get 4 various kinds, but you'll probably get 4 various kinds just from the boxes and from running for Brees. So again, just don't really worry about this, but it is a thing. Alright, the second way to get really fast combat power is through something called skill crests, and specifically crests in general. So I'm going to go over really quickly how you unlock them and how you get them and how much combat power you get from each type of skill crest. So as far as unlocking them, you have 2 ways to unlock them. If it's a skill that does any sort of damage, every time you use it and you damage an enemy, you have to damage an enemy, your skill crest slot will go up by a certain percentage. Stage 1 is easy, stage 2 is medium, and stage 3 gets significantly harder. So you just need to do it more and more. If it's a skill that does not do damage, if it's a skill that purely heals you or buffs you or protects you, so for example, redemption, right? Every time I use redemption, it doesn't matter if it's a purely defensive skill. I can sit here in town and I can spam it and I'll gain the XP for it because there's no way for the game to know if I'm using it in battle or not. So if it's a defensive skill, you could sit down and spam it in town and you'll earn your 3 skill crests. If it's an offensive skill, you have to go to dungeons or find a willing tank who's willing to duel you while he AFKs and just spam and spam and spam. And eventually, once you spam the skill enough or once you use it enough in combat, you'll unlock your little skill crest slots. Now, why is that important? Because of these skill crests. So every time you unlock a skill crest, you don't get combat power, but every time you equip a skill crest, you do. These are not worth equipping, really. I mean, if you've got nothing else, go for it, but they don't give that much. Really, the ones you're going to be equipping most are green ones and blue ones. So when you have nothing and you equip a green one, you get around 1,000 combat power, or something along those lines. I don't remember exactly. If I remember, it's around 1,000. And if you have nothing and you go directly to a blue one, you get 2,000 combat power. So just think about it. Look at how many slots I have open. Look at how much potential possibilities there are. Every single slot is 2,000 combat power. 2,000, 4,000, 6,000, 12,000, 18,000, etc., 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 etc. This is a whole lot of combat power. You should unlock every single skill crest and equip it with the highest ranking skill. For example, I don't use this at all. I have a blue crest on here. Why? Because it gives me 2,000 combat power for nothing. You don't have to use a skill to unlock the skill crest. Once you unlock it, it's permanent. Once you equip the skill crest into it, it's permanent. That 2,000 combat power stays whether you're using your skill or not. So look at your class skills, unlock all the crests, and just fill them up with the highest ranking ones you get. Obviously the ones you care about, so like my Earth Cleaver, you not only want to fill them up with blue ones, but you want to fill them up with things you care about. I care about my cooldown, I care about my MP cost, I care about my penetration rate on this. I would prefer to have crit rate, but I don't have a crit rate skill crest for this yet. But, for those ones you can be a bit more picky. You don't want to equip something like knockback effect, right? You don't want the blue knockback effect on this because who cares about the knockback effect? If you use the soulstone, there isn't even a knockback effect. So you do want to be a bit more pickier with the skills you use. You want to make sure you're equipping the ones that will help you the most. But most of the time, just equip the blue ones. And I mean, I haven't done the calculations, but let's say 16,000 for this, times 2, times 3, times 4, 5, 6, 8. Close to 100,000 combat power if you do them all. So again, fairly significant. I'll go over how to get them in a second. Also, this works the same way for expert skills, including expert skills you don't use. So while I'm not using this at the moment, I'm still getting the combat power from the 2 greens and 1 blue in that skill crest. I actually haven't unlocked all of them. I'm actually missing some here. I'm going to get to that eventually. But just know that if it has a skill crest slot, you should open it up. You should put something in there whether you're using it or not. And if you're looking for combat power, that is a really, really easy way to get to it. Well, I don't want to say easy, but it's a permanent solution. It'll take you a while to unlock all of these skill crests, believe me. Especially these basic attacks, they take a really long time. It took me forever to unlock for the weapon of choice that I wasn't using at the time. But it is very much worth it. So, how do you get them? Simple. I don't think I have any right now. Okay. There's a cube called a skill crest cube. Let's see if there's a merchant here that I could talk to. Dukin's proof by any chance? No, there is not. Okay, let me teleport to a Dukin's proof merchant and show you. Okay, so I'm gonna talk to this guy. Not this guy. This guy. He sells skill crest cubes. That's what it looks like. It looks like a little triangle. It's a skill crest cube. Each one of these give 3 random skill crests up to a green one. So if I go ahead and open that, I've got gray one, got a gray one, I've got a gray one. Reroll those 3 times if you have the money. If not, don't worry about it. You get them for free from Blood Castle and just from killing random mythic mobs. So go ahead and reroll them. Go ahead and use them even if I don't use the skill. Let's say I don't have an uncommon for my MP cost. I would right click it and I would register it and I would put it on. Yeah. Simple. Once you have all uncommons, work on towards getting all rares. Once you have all rares, you can work on getting blues. How do you get blue ones? For blue ones, you need something called...
Alchemy is a science.
Something called a heroic skill crest cube. So it gives you heroic ones which are blue. What do you need for that? You need chilling embers and you need pattern fragments. Pattern fragments you get by dismantling the regular skill crests. Chilling embers you get from fire and ice caves. You roll the cubes and you just hope for chilling embers. You need 150 of these and 5 of these per cube. Each cube will give you 3 random blue ones. Not the easiest solution, not the fastest way, but it's a permanent way and it's a fairly easy way once you get the hang of doing your fire nights every day. So if I was to go ahead and dismantle these 3 uncommon ones, I would get 3. If I was to do the rare dismantles, I think each rare gives you 3, so 3 rares would be 9. So you need 150 of these. Really, if you've got the Zen to open it, it's really not too hard getting it. I'm 62, I'm 100 away, but that's basically how you get it. So farm Fire and Ice once you're 180k combat power. Shouldn't be too long if you follow my pet stuff and you get your pets up. Once you're 180k, run that Fire and Ice. Hope for those Chilling Embers, dismantle your regular skill crests, collect 150 of these, get the Chilling Embers, and then fill all of these babies up with greens and blues. I still have uncommon in this because this is better than any green or blue I've had, because I sometimes use this skill. But regardless, fill these guys up, open them up, and again, plenty of combat power. I don't want to say in no time, but like the defensive ones are super easy to unlock. And some attack ones, especially these class skill attack ones, again, fairly easy to unlock. Just go into a mythic, turn on some music, and use the skill over and over. These are going to take you a longer time, but just use the skill while you're playing normally. You'll unlock it as you play. So number 2 way of getting it, there's a lot of combat power there that you're missing. Like I said, close to 180, close to 100k combat power you could be getting from it. Work your way towards it. Use the skills you don't want to use. Hey, maybe you'll even like a skill while you use it. And slowly but surely, there's 160k combat power just from pets and skill crests. Alright, the final way to get your combat power up, at least the final way as far as me talking about it in this video, will be through this inventory screen. There are 3 different ways you could do it here. Opening up slots to add gems or soulstones. Each soulstone or gem will give you anywhere between 2,000 combat power to 3,000 combat power. You've got 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 slots. So let's say 11 times 2. That is 22,000 combat power just from gemming up your stuff. Gemming up is fairly easy. Go to this gem,
feel free to look
add
around.
slot. If it doesn't have a slot, you can right click it. It'll tell you what the materials are. Go ahead and add a slot for every single item that you use. And then go ahead and add any sort of gems that you use. Gems are fairly easy to get. You'll just get them from random drops. Then you can go to the craftsmith and upgrade them to their highest tier. At their highest tier, you can get 2.5k per equipment. Also, the soul stones that I've talked about in my previous video will give you 2k for equipping them, so go ahead and do that as well. So 22k combat power just from that. Go ahead and make sure to add a slot and equip one in every single equipment slot that you can. Next up are wings. Wings, I've already talked about how to tier them up in my previous video, but again, fairly easy. There's currently something going on called this guide. If you go ahead and complete it to level 5, you will get plenty of growth stones and plenty of evolution stones. That guide will get you to tier 3 without any sort of sweat, any problem. You could probably get to tier 3 within a week of playing, if not within 5 days of playing, right? So once you get to level 65, you'll get your 65 wings, complete the guide, level them up. When you first equip them, there'll be 11k combat power. You'll gain 13k just from finishing the guide. The guide will probably get you halfway to tier 4, if not more. Once you get to tier 4, you'll double that combat power, so you'll go from 24k to 52k. Shouldn't take you more than a month realistically. If you're playing every day, you're doing Endless Tower every day. If you're running with people with sprout buffs every day, with the current way that Endless Tower is set up, tier 4 is fairly easy. So within a month, you really should have this. And again, 11,000, 52,000, 40,000 combat power permanently. You're never gonna unequip this, right? Just a flat 40,000 bonus. Make sure to run your Endless Tower every day. It is super important. If you want to take a break, you can stop at tier 4, but you really do want to get that tier 4 wings. It really does help out tremendously. And the final way in this inventory screen is through your artifact. So initially, when you craft an artifact, it'll be level 0 at stage 0. At stage 0, it gives you 1,000 combat power. At max level, stage 100, it gives you 19,000 combat power. And if you get 5 stage 100s and you dismantle them and you awaken it, you get 40,000 combat power. Depending on the server you're on, this is going to be easier or harder. The server I'm playing on, we've been playing since the day of launch. So in our server, if you're a new player in our server, people will run you through 100 for free. I do it all the time. I see people just begging, hey, can someone run me through 100? Sure, no problem. It takes me 5 minutes to run someone through. Same thing for Awakened. You need 5 100s. You will get 4 free 100s just from the training inside of Noria. 2 100s from the training inside of Noria, and 2 free 100s from the guide. So that's 4 free 100s. You just need to level up 1 100, then you have 5 for the same one that is stage 100. After that, the only thing you need are 10 of these. I'm pretty sure the guide will give you 10 if you complete it, and then you just need 250 broken artifacts. I don't think the guide will give you that, but all you have to do is run Lupa 100 a few times and you'll be good to go. You'll also need 1.2 mil magic gems, so go ahead and save them until you can actually craft one. Go ahead and craft one. Again, shouldn't take you, if you play a month, you should have this at tier 4, you should have this awakened, and you should have every single gem thing equipped. Okay? Within a month, you should also have pretty much every one of these unlocked, including your expert ones, if you actively work towards it. And maybe you can get all of these unlocked, I don't know. You'll definitely have half of these unlocked for sure within a month. So, I mean, just playing within a month, unlocking all your skill crests, concentrating on getting your pet to tier 5 plus 10, and getting a bunch of tier 2s in here, and just following this video, you'll have 280k in realistically no time. Once you're at 280k, you can run those epics, you can start making money, you can start getting good equipment, all the fun stuff. But, I mean, fairly simple. There is one other way to get combat power, and that is through something called Talisman, but I will make a whole video just for this. Because if I was to add this to this video would be way too long. So, I mean, that is about it. Add gems, upgrade your wings, get your awakened, and you are going to be good to go for a free 22k, for another free 40k, and then for another free 40k. So 40k, 80k, 100k just from gear, 100k plus from unlocking all of these and getting these from greens to blues, and about 60k from pets. That's 260k combat power without even factoring in your equipment, or your costumes, or your wings, or anything else going on like a soul build, for example, right? This doesn't give you enough to really talk about in this video, but I mean, within a month, if you're not 280k combat power, you're just not doing it correctly. I mean, that should be your #1 goal. Get that 280k, get enough equipment so you don't get kicked for pugs or run with your guild, and then you can start the real progress. So I hope you guys learned something, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.